Ah, the buddy cop action subgenre. No other type of movie is more manly and more action-packed, at least outside of an Arnold Schwarzenegger flick. In the 80s, the genre kicked off with movies like 48 Hours, starring Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte, along with Richard Donner's Lethal Weapon, led by Danny Glover and Mel Gibson. As soon as the mid-90s rolled in, a couple of franchises sent the buddy cop genre straight into the damn stratosphere. In 1995, after directing music videos for a number of years, Michael Bay made the big leap to the silver screen with his directorial debut, Bad Boys, starring comedian Martin Lawrence, who was riding high off his TV sitcom Martin, and who better to team him up with than the man, the myth, the legend, Will Smith. The future megastar was coming off his impressive music career as well as headlining the best damn show of the 90s, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Bad Boys would prove to be a massive success, establishing Michael Bay as a household name, propelling Martin Lawrence into more hit comedies, and launching Will Smith as the summer blockbuster star for years to come. The film spawned two stellar sequels, Bad Boys 2 and Bad Boys for Life, with the fourth Bad Boys movie in pre-production currently.
Wait a minute.
How could you not call the fourth Bad Boys movie Bad Boys for Life? Man, it's another case of the Rambo movie name curse. In 1998, East meets West. No, not Jim West. In another buddy cop box office gangbuster. After a few failed attempts in the 80s to make a name for himself in America with movies like Cannonball Run and The Protector, Jackie Chan finally struck big with Rumble in the Bronx, making his long overdue splash in Hollywood, which led to his first major studio blockbuster with Rush Hour. Chan starred opposite the hilarious Chris Tucker, who found his stride with the buddy stoner comedy Friday. The movie cemented Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker as household names and resulted in two worthy sequels. And if you ask us, Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker should bring it back one more time. You can even call it Rush Hour for Life. So today we're gonna pit buddy cops against buddy cops to see which are the top cops. Let's find out. Face Off!
No actual science was used to determine the outcome of Face Off. Your results may vary. Please do not consume Face Off if you are allergic to conjecture, opinion, or general nonsense.
What the hell did you just say?
Set in Miami, Bad Boys sees our dudes, Mike and Marcus, dealing with the difficult task of recovering $100 million worth of heroin that was stolen from the Miami Police Department. And if the drugs are not recovered within 5 days, the narcotics division that they work for will get shut down. As they start their investigation, a sexy girl played by Tia Leone is a witness to a crime committed by the prime suspects and will only work with Mike due to the fact that her best friend, who was brutally murdered, had ties to Mike. When she calls for help, Mike is not available and Marcus must go undercover as Mike.
Who's there?
Mike Lowry.
And what makes it funny is that Marcus is a family man who must now pretend to be a bachelor.
Well, how do I know it's Mike Lowry?
'Cause I'm Mike Lowry.
As everything unfolds, the comedy and the action keeps us on the edge of our seats. Rush Hour involves an international case for the ages as the daughter of a Chinese diplomat in Los Angeles is kidnapped by an international crime organization. The FBI is on the case, however, the victim requests that his most trusted Hong Kong Chief Inspector Lee, played by Jackie Chan, assist with the investigation. With the FBI not wanting to cooperate, they ask LAPD to babysit Lee to keep him away from the case, and LAPD chooses Detective James Carter, played by the incomparable Chris Tucker, who is on the verge of a suspension due to his reckless tactics. Determined not to be humiliated and willing to do what's right, Lee and Carter team up to solve the case themselves. Even coming from two different cultures, the partners eventually bond and go against orders from both the LAPD and the FBI. Thankfully, they ultimately pull through, and we get plenty of laughs and kick-assery along the way.
I'm no punk bitch.
I ain't no punk bitch neither.
I'm no
I'll
punk
come in there
bitch.
and knock that head off.
When it comes down to it, both stories work for each of these fantastic pairings. So for this first round, we're calling this one a draw. Now that the story is out of the way, let's focus on the characters of our action duos. After all, and in Bad Boys, Marcus Burnett and Mike Lowry were childhood best friends and eventually become narcotics cops together. Although they are very close,
I love you, man. Fuck you, Marcus.
their upbringings are quite different. Mike is the smooth, trust fund kid who loves being a bachelor and as an adrenaline junkie loves danger even more. Marcus, the more clumsy one, worked hard his entire life, sometimes struggling even as a family man. Unlike his partner, he's absolutely not a fan of danger, but when it's called upon, he can definitely kick things into a higher gear. The bickering between these two is always hysterical.
Drive almost slow enough to drive Miss Daisy. I wanna be like Mike. Pow!
Man, what is this having a picnic shit in my car, man? You sound like a nagging wife.
And their chemistry is on point. In Rush Hour, Lee and Carter, nothing alike. Coming from two different backgrounds, there's somewhat of a culture shock as they're basically just thrown into their situation together. But the mismatched partners share the same ideals and do what's right as a police officer. Similar to other buddy cop films, what makes their pairing so intriguing is the polar opposite personalities. Lee is the more straight-laced one, but possesses unbelievable kung fu skills. Carter is the wisecracking big mouth and definitely not an experienced fighter either, which sets them up for some extremely amusing scenes when they encounter a perilous situation. But ultimately, what makes their on-screen chemistry appealing is when they take the time to learn about each other's culture, and that is the reason why, for this round, we're giving it to Rush Hour. The 90s definitely had a distinct style of action cinema, and both Bad Boys and Rush Hour were at the forefront. But which of these two had the overall better spectacle? Considering it was Michael Bay's first outing as a movie director, Bad Boys demonstrated early on what the filmmaker would be known for: Bayhem, aka explosion porn. Although the film is relatively tame in action compared to the rest of Bay's filmography, he definitely leaned more towards the comedy and stylized shots that would go on to be his trademark. However, the final showdown at the airport is absolutely bananas.
You forgot your boarding pass.
The action depicted in Rush Hour is vastly different. We're treated to some elaborate fight scenes and complex stunt work done by Chan himself throughout the movie, with his signature slapstick comedy, hand-to-hand combat, and his inventive usage of props during fights too, with the main highlight being Lee and Carter fighting alongside each other at the restaurant. For the big finale, where we see Lee fall from the ceiling onto the banner, Chan himself said the body burns on the way down really got to him. But he didn't really let it get him down because Jackie Chan is the man. With that being said, the difference between these two great action flicks is Chan himself. So this round easily goes to Rush Hour. Now, before Brett Ratner was ultimately canceled, he did have a decent resume of films under his belt, including Hercules, Red Dragon, and Tower Heist. But he will always be known for his work on the Rush Hour trilogy. With Rush Hour, Brett Ratner masterfully blends Chris Tucker's style of comedy with Jackie Chan's action chops. And thanks to his time directing music videos earlier on in his career, not only are the action and comedy prominent, but so is the music.
Beach Boy. Oh, hell no.
With multiple scenes featuring musical numbers from Michael Jackson and Mariah Carey, whom Ratner worked with in the past. And of course, you can't talk about Rush Hour without mentioning Edwin Starr's War.
It ain't you all, it's y'all.
Y'all.
Y'all. Y'all.
Which essentially is the perfect theme for these two characters. All these choices make this movie extra memorable and elevate Rush Hour as one of the best buddy cop films of all time.
Now, can you do that to the beach, boys? Can you do that to the beach, boys? Hell no.
Similar to Ratner, Michael Bay got his start directing music videos before turning his attention to features, including The Rock, the Transformers series, and most recently, Ambulance. When you watch Bad Boys, just about every scene is set at a breakneck pace, complete with over-the-top dialogue, bombastic action, and yes, Bay's bread and butter, explosions. All the tropes we witness in Bad Boys would carry on to his other films, and that makes him one of the most distinct filmmakers working in Hollywood today, for better or worse. Thanks to Bay's more recognizable, stylized aesthetic, we gotta give this round to Bad Boys. The argument can be made that both films are two of the greatest buddy cop movies ever produced. Bad Boys, no doubt, has earned its place in action cinema history. As we said previously, Michael Bay would go on to become an iconic director, whether you like his style of filmmaking or not. Will Smith catapulted from the Fresh Prince to blockbuster superstar, while Martin Lawrence would continue to have a respectable run of starring in his own brand of comedies. The original film created a franchise with debatably superior sequels, not to mention more on the way. And very similar to Bad Boys, Rush Hour had a lasting impact, spawning 2 sequels of its own as well. Chris Tucker's status went straight through the roof, even at one point becoming the highest paid actor in Hollywood. And Rush Hour was the moment Jackie Chan truly transformed into a global superstar by finally having his big breakthrough in the West. In the end, both legacies are still enduring to this day, and between what these films did for Michael Bay, Will Smith, and Jackie Chan, it would be criminal to pick one over the other, which is why this round is a draw.
I cannot believe this shit.
Oh, I forgot.
Okay, let's do something a little different here on Face Off. Which one of these movies had the better set of one-liners? Let her rip.
You damn right it's limited. No cup holder, no back seat, just a shiny dick with 2 chairs in it. I guess we the balls just dragging the fuck along.
$50 million? And who you think you kidnapped, Chelsea Clinton?
Please, man, married life is easy. You only got one woman to satisfy.
You destroyed half a city block.
That block was already messed up.
You like that shit? Wesley Snipes, passenger 57. Now give me a motherfucking handy wipe.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Oh, man, no, that's too much bass in your voice. That scared white folks. You got to sound like them.
Chinese food, no soul food here.
Bad boys, what you gonna do?
Who? Yeah. Well, it isn't good for absolutely nothing. Good God, you are.
Okay, those were all gloriously memorable bits from each movie, but we gotta hand this round and overall face-off to Rush Hour.
Yes!
This is fucked up.
But hey, that's just our opinion. Which of these movies do you think is more deserving of the face-off crown? Rush Hour or Bad Boys? And what other action romps do you want us to throw in the face-off cage? Let us know in the comments section, and of course, thanks for watching.